smiling man. About 5 years ago, I lived downtown in a major city in the United States. I've always been a night person, so I'd often find myself bored, and, well, my roommate pretty much was not a night person and was always sleeping. So to pass the time, I'd usually go for long walks and just spend time thinking. I spent about 4 years like that, just walking alone at night, and never once had a reason to feel afraid. And I used to always joke with my roommate that even the drug dealers in the city were polite. But all of that changed in just a few minutes of this one evening. It was Wednesday, and it was somewhere between 1 and 2 in the morning, and while I was walking near a police-patrolled park, quite a ways from my apartment, and it was pretty a quiet night, even for a weeknight, with very little traffic in the area and no one pretty much on foot. So the park, as it was most nights, was completely empty. Well, I turned down a short side street in order to loop back to my apartment when I looked up and I noticed him. At the far end of the street on my side was a silhouette of a man. He was dancing. It was a strange dance similar to a waltz, but he finished each box with an odd forward stride. I guess you could say he was dance walking, like he was heading straight for me. Well, deciding that maybe he was probably drunk, I stepped as close as I could to the road to give him the majority of the sidewalk to pass me. The closer he got, the more I realized how graceful he was moving. I was completely unnerved by this. I started walking again, but kept my eyes on the man. He didn't move. Once I had put about half a block between us, I turned away from him for a moment to watch the sidewalk in front of me. The street and sidewalk ahead of me were completely empty. I still couldn't get rid of this unnerved feeling. I looked back to where he had been standing to find him gone. For the briefest of moments, I felt some relief until I noticed him. He crossed the street and was now slightly crouched down. I couldn't tell for sure due to the distance and the shadows, but I was certain he was facing me. I had looked away from him for no more than 10 seconds, so it was clear that he had moved fast. I was so shocked that I stood there for some time staring at him. And then after he started moving towards me again, he was taking giant, exaggerated tiptoe steps, as if he were a cartoon character sneaking up on someone. Except for he moved very quickly. I like to say at this point, I ran away and pulled out my pepper spray or my cell phone or anything, but I couldn't. I just stood there. I was frozen as the smiling man crept towards me. And then he stopped again, about a car length away from me. He was smiling a smile, still looking at the sky. Finally, I found my voice and I blurted out the first thing that came to mind. What I meant to ask was, "What do you want?" in a commanding tone. But it came out like, "What do you want?" Regardless if humans can smell fear, they definitely can hear it. And I could hear it in my own voice. It made me more afraid. He didn't react at all. He just stood there smiling. And then after what felt like forever, he turned around very slowly and started to dance, walking away. Just like that, not wanting to turn my back to him again, I just watched him go till he's far enough away to almost be out of sight. And then I realized something. He wasn't moving away anymore, nor was he dancing. I watched in horror as the distant shape of him grew larger and larger. He was coming back my way. Now he was running. I had to run. I ran too. I ran off until there was a side road and I could go back down the lit road into sparse traffic. I kept looking behind me and he was nowhere to be found. The rest of the way home, I kept glancing over my shoulder, always expecting to see his stupid smile, but he was never there. I lived in that city for 6 months after that night, and I never went out for another walk. There was something about his face that haunted me. He didn't look drunk, he didn't look high, he just looked insane. And that very, very smile of his was what scared me.